Welcome back to our 2020 video series where you'll find 20 tips throughout the year on how to be more financially healthy. Today we wanted to give you our advice for how to set a budget you can actually stick to. Now raise your hand if you've ever gone through the process of setting a budget, but you've had a hard time sticking with it. Yeah, I include myself in that. The budgeting process can be complex, it can be daunting, difficult to understand, but today we wanted to give you a simple process you can follow to set a budget to stick to in 2021. And the first step in the process is to start with your why. Now, a lot of people think that the budgeting process should start with looking at, okay, what are my income and what are my expenses? And that is an important part of it, but I don't actually think it's the first place that you should start. Instead, you should ask yourself a simple question. What are 2 to 3 things that you care most about? And I'll tell you what some of those things are for me. My daughter Mila, my wife Krista, and freedom. And so before I set my first budget, I come up with that list of values because I want my budget to reflect those values. I want it to be asking of me, am I spending money on things that I actually care about? And also, it's important to determine that why, because there are going to be times where it's really hard to stick to your budget, where you're going to want to quit, where it's going to be hard to say no to the right things so that you can say yes to the right things. And those whys, those core central values are going to help you remind you why you're making those decisions. They're going to be the things that you turn to when you're like, gosh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. The why is the thing that you continue to remind yourself of. The second step in the process is to create your what I think I spend budget. And I'm using air quotes because a lot of people will discover that what they think they're spending doesn't line up with what they're actually spending. So you can do this in a number of different ways. You can work with a financial coach to set up a simple what you think you spend budget, but really what it involves is writing out what are all of your expenses, the things that you spend money on, and how much do you think on a monthly basis are you spending in those areas? So again, your rent, your groceries, utilities, all those types of things. For most areas, you're probably going to be pretty good at estimating what you're actually spending, but for some, we don't have that good of an idea, which is why the next part of the process is so important. Once you've come up with your what I think I spend budget, you want to actually track your spending. And I would recommend that you do this for a period of at least 30 to 60 days. And this means every dollar that comes in or out of your hands, whether it's cash, direct deposits, paychecks, anything like that. In order to create an accurate budget, you really need to know how money is flowing in and out of your life. So track your spending for a period of 30 to 60 days. And there are lots of different ways you can do that. You can reconcile your Canopy Credit Union statements. You can use our budgeting tool. There are lots of different ways to do it, but just make sure that you actually track every dollar that comes in and out of your possession. And the next step in the process is to take a look at what am I actually spending and then determine what would I like to spend. And this is where we're comparing, okay, what did I think I was spending? What am I actually spending? And now what would I like to spend? Great example of an area you can do this in is with your eating out budget. So you might think, okay, I'm spending about $200 a month going out for food. That's what I think I'm spending. When you track it, you might find out, hey, I'm actually spending $350, close to $400 a month. And so what I'm going to set my budget amount at is $325 a month. It's somewhere in the middle between those two. And again, we want to come up with a budget that's realistic, sustainable, and so it needs to be informed by your spending. And so again, these are the steps in the process. Start with your why. Create your what I think I spend budget. Honestly track your spending, and then make your real budget based on that tracked spending. If you need assistance or help in following this process, connect with us, connect with one of our financial coaches who would be happy to set you up with an individualized budget to help you fulfill your needs. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, follow us on Facebook to catch all of our videos and all the important updates coming from Canopy Credit Union. Thanks for tuning in.